Floor is yours.
Burn It Down NASCAR podcast is now in session. Post Indianapolis. What did you think about the first time back at the Oval?
This car sucks. Essentially, can't pass, can't do nothing. Kyle Larson's the only one that could because he's the best driver in the world. I liked it. It's just I just wish it was a better car. This car package we got is just not good.
Oh, absolutely, it's not. Excuse me, not good. To that end, best ratings they've had since 2020, which, by the way, is the last time they had an oval.
Yeah, I heard that.
They were up 26% from last year. So all they got to do is listen to us and we'll help them out.
Yeah.
We'll help them out.
We can fix that car real quick.
Well, that and their choice of...
Yeah, of tracks. But I'm just saying, if they listen to us, the car could be fixed next.
I got something on that too. You probably saw it, but I thought it was interesting. Anyway, Kyle Larson wins. Controversial. We'll get to that in a minute. Top 10 was Reddick, Blaney, Bell, Bubba, Gilliland. Man, I'm beginning to buy what you're selling on Gilliland. It just seems like it's only a matter of time.
Of what?
Him winning.
Oh, yeah.
Cindric, Suarez, Gregson, Elliott. Stenhouse was 11th. Chastain was 15th. And that boy better step it up or Bubba's going to take his spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, only 7 points or something like that?
Exactly. Zane Smith was in 17th. Ty Gibbs got beat by his brother. No, I'm sorry.
Dylan.
Ty Dillon.
Austin Dillon's 13th.
Yeah. Keselowski, that was interesting. He's 21st. Buescher was 22nd. Ty Gibbs was 23rd. Kyle Busch, bad luck Kyle. 25th. Truex 27th. Hamlin 32nd. Got caught up. And it wasn't his fault. He just wrong place, wrong time. Jimmy Johnson beat Joey Logano. That's the first time that's happened in a while. Josh Berry was in an accident. Byron was in an accident, 38th. So that pretty much covers the race. The standings. I think Kyle Larson took it back. I think Chase Elliott was in the lead in the regular season standings before the Brickyard. Kyle Larson is now in the lead. Your top, well, let's go 16 because that's where we care about. You got Larson, Elliott, Reddick, Hamlin, Blaney, Byron, Truex, Bell, Keselowski, Bowman, Gibbs, Buescher, Chastain, Wallace, Logano, Briscoe. That's your top 16 regular season, but that doesn't matter because we've got... Why did Kamala pop up? Our championship standings for the final 16. Larson has 4 wins. Hamlin, Byron, and Bell have 3. Blaney has 2, and then with 1 win apiece, you got Elliott, Reddick, Keselowski, Bowman, Logano, Suarez, and Cindric. Truex is 13th, 108 points above the cut line. I really think he's safe, barring 4 new winners in what, 6 races to go?
I think it's 5
5?
now. Yeah.
What, Richmond, Michigan? I know Darlington.
Richmond, Michigan, Daytona, and Darlington. All that's left.
So 4. I think you're going to get a new winner out of one of those. Gibbs is 42 above the line. Busher is 17. He's in danger. Obviously, Chastain is in danger. Bubba's only 7 out. Chase Briscoe is 83 out. He's gonna need a win. I still think that Kyle Busch is gonna get a win. And I think in 2 weeks, because we got 2 weeks off due to the Olympics at Richmond, that's one of his best shots. It's not an aero track, it's a driver track.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a whole lot below that line that I expect. I mean, Bubba could get a win at Daytona or Michigan. McDowell, don't count him out. We got Watkins Glen in there too, don't we?
Watkins Glen is in the playoffs. Second race in the playoffs.
Josh Berry wouldn't be a surprise, but Bubba and Ross are 7 points apart, and that's the fight that's going on right now. So fantasy, I don't have that right in front of me, but I got you. I ended up getting you by 2 points this week.
Yeah, it's 2 points.
And I got you really good. We haven't done a broadcast since Pocono, but I got you really good there too. So I'm starting to claw back.
You got me by 3. I got adjusted apparently.
Okay. We'll take it. Don't get me wrong.
If Hamlin wouldn't have got crashed out and then Gibbs didn't have his motor problem, that'd have been fine. But you know.
Yeah, well, you know, there. You took somebody. I don't. My phone is on charger, so I can't get it up.
Penthouse.
Yeah, that surprised me.
I got
to work out.
I gotta take different picks. I'm getting to the nitty gritty now.
Oh, me as well. I wish I'd have had Larson, but I've only got 2 left on him.
Same here. That's why I didn't take him.
And I'm like,
firing him going out like he did, that was a hard hit, but I didn't think he was going to do that, but.
Well, there's a. All right, so we've covered the stats. What do you think about that last restart?
Which one? Where Keselowski ran out of gas?
Yeah.
Tough shit. That's tough shit. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Here's how I thought about it. They gave everybody knew leading up to that restart that Keselowski had no gas. They were talking about it for like 8 laps. He was 8 laps over the target. Okay, if Keselowski stayed out, why did you take the high side? You could have gone right behind him, where Kyle Larson was, and made Kyle take the outside lane, and you would have had that spot. You knew he was going to run out of gas. Everybody knew it was only a matter of time. He wasn't going to make it. They tried stretching it. They were close, but Brad wasn't going to make it by all counts.
And Blaney didn't really have a choice. He
could have stuck behind Brad, and he would have moved up to that fucking the front row, the inside front row. And Brad, yes, he didn't know that was gonna happen, but that choice
could have taken. Wasn't he? No, Keselowski was leader.
Yes, so he had to take second pick, which made him go the outside front row. yes, it was a gamble, but he took that outside, which gave Kyle Larson that front row bottom when Brad ran out. It was only a matter of time.
My take on it is it's one of the best strategic moves that Kyle Larson and Cliff Daniels ever made. Because they knew if he ran out, they'd and to do it in the restart zone, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I really figured he'd try and fire off and then hold Kyle Larson up.
Yeah.
And if that were the case, then it would have worked out for Blaney, but he ran out in the restart zone, dove to the pits, and Kyle was able to move up, and you know, the rest is history. But Blaney was hot.
Yeah, he was pissed, call him the golden boy and everything. Did you see?
No.
I forgot what it was, but Kyle Larson. Let me find the tweet because Kyle Larson just egged it on. I'll try to find the tweet because someone tweeted Kelly Crandall. She's a NASCAR racer.com, ESPN.com, Sirius NASCAR Radio. She posted Ryan Blaney is furious at the 12 radio about the race restarting when Brad Keselowski ran out of gas and Kyle Larson moved up to the front row. He says NASCAR just gave him the race, fucking golden boy. And then Kyle Larson tweeted at it and goes, "Thanks, NASCAR."
No, it was brilliant.
It's just chance. It's how NASCAR is.
And you know what? I'm sure
everybody's like they should have called it off and been another restart. No, it was too late. The car was still rolling. The car wasn't staying still. Now the final one when Priest stopped on the back track and they didn't call caution on that. I thought that was bad. That NASCAR should have called a caution for that.
Well, they thought he could get rolling, and once they figured out he wasn't going to do it, and they'd pass the start. I mean,
every other caution that a car hit that wall on the back end, they instantly caution flag. But on the final flag,
make that argument.
They got to be consistent. So that was my only NASCAR call that I didn't like.
Once again, dumbass NASCAR starts these races.
Yep.
Trying to time the sun going down.
Yeah.
And they're going to do everything they can to get it finished. So they knew that they could get Larson across the start-finish line, throw the white, and then it was over. There wasn't going to be another race.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have danger of not being able to. I get the conspiracy theorists.
But it's not consistent from what the whole race has been. That's the only thing I had an issue with. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Kyle Larson fan. I wanted him to win, but also that should have been a caution, and Ryan Blaney could have had the option to restart again. So it can go both ways.
Agree. I absolutely don't disagree with you on that. It's just like, I understand both sides of it. I know what you're saying. Somebody hits the wall, they're down, and you throw the flag immediately.
Yeah.
Their interest was getting that race over with.
Well, they were mad because the race got turned from NBC to USA. They lost their whole ratings anyway. They wanted to get the race over.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was political crap going on Sunday, so they went to USA to start the race, and they came back once all the talking heads got done. And then they ran out of time. There was something else they had scheduled. They had to get going, so they finished the race on USA. But to your point about ratings, it was still way above all the road course races. And you and I have had this I hated that. I do like road courses, but stop trying to reinvent things that work.
Well, I like the road course, but also why make it the Indy the road course? Just have Indy 400 or Indy whatever and the road course and have another race. Just don't get rid of the oval. How I took it.
Well, I don't disagree with you there. Are you done chewing up the race? You got more? I mean, there were incidents. It was pretty boring the first stage, most of the second stage. Things got interesting towards the end of the second stage, and then of course we had that third stage where it got real interesting, but nothing earth-shattering
All
as
I-
far as
all
I'm concerned.
all I know is with this car, even if they save fuel very lightly, they can make that car go so much farther on fuel mileage. Look what Joey Logano did. He went like 30 miles over the gas tank limit by saving. Now Brad almost did the same thing at Indy, so I expect a lot of drivers
Weren't
to see
they going
that.
like 20 miles an hour slower
They were
than
going
their?
they were going 3 to 4 miles an hour slower on average to
I
save
thought it was
fuel.
more than that.
No, they were barely saving fuel, but they were, and then that's when they realized Kyle Larson's. Cliff Daniels was like go, and so Kyle Larson's the one that made him pick up the pace because he got up to third, and that's when they said go.
All right, let's hit some news stuff. This one really surprised me. Corey LaJoy has been basically fired. They're saying he will not return to Spire Motorsports.
I had that. I told you something like that because when Rodney Childers said he's going to crew chief to 7, it didn't say going to crew chief Corey LaJoy in the 7.
You did. You said that. Now it makes me wonder who they're going to bring in. It and it says that it's somebody to be named. They haven't. They're in negotiations.
Fire Motorsports got the money to get to whoever they want. You don't realize how much money they got. They got a lot of money, so they could probably get anybody that's best in the market. Ryan Priest is the only one that doesn't have a ride from Stuart Haas, but I don't think he's the best pick.
I don't think he is either. That's it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do with that. But I was actually kind of surprised. I shouldn't have been because of what you said with Rodney Childers coming over to the 7 car and they're not talking about a driver. It kind of makes sense. So maybe Rodney will get to pick whoever he wants.
I'm sure he has a say.
Now, where does Corey go?
Nowhere.
Back to Bush or
It'll be
Xfinity?
It'll be the same thing Cole Custer did. Go down. And Elliott Sadler, they went back to Xfinity for a while, which I don't think Corey LaJoy should have been in the Cup anyways. He just brought sponsorship somehow. He'll go to Xfinity. If not,
it was the hair.
It's Xfinity, and if he doesn't do that, he'll be like a radio personality. He's good in the entertainment, like that aspect.
NASCAR to allow teams to add lifter system for flat tires. Have you seen that? NASCAR hopes it has found a solution to Cup Series cars with flat tires getting beached and requiring a lengthy process and returning into the pits. Vice President Elton Sawyer says a lifter system will be placed to nurse cars back to their teams. We're hoping that the fix will be this quick connect and will be connected or installed. That when the track service workers get there, they basically can take an air hose, pump up the rear tire, will lift up, and then give the drivers ability to drive back to pit road. Then when they get to pit road, there's a valve where they just hit the valve and the rear end of the car will go back down. So they're not talking about air in the, because my thing was, what, you're going to try and air up a shredded tire? No, they're going to lift up the suspension.
With what?
So the car can run on the rim. So we don't see these cars that, on grading can't get traction. You can lift lift the suspension, so even though the tire's flat, it gets them off the track surface and they can go. And then when they get back to pit road, get the new tires on, they've got to release that valve and go back to normal. How many penalties are going to come out of that bullshit?
So that's a variable that can be confused and abused, and I don't.
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Get rid of the blocks.
But no bad idea promulgated this, which is the car. But I thought, well, it's stupid you have to do this. Another expense for the teams. But they're not going to give it up on this car. I don't know why. They're so married to this thing.
I think it's funny. We didn't talk about it during the Chicago race. They debuted the NASCAR electric car that's going nowhere.
Oh, it is. It's going nowhere.
Well, they already said that this is just for show. This was just it was commissioned to do it, but the electric car, all the analytics came out and said that it wasn't really going to work, and everybody backed out their money, and NASCAR said, we're already far along, let's just finish it. So it's just for show that they actually did it. It's not going to have its own series or anything like that. Because why do you go to a NASCAR race? To hear, to smell, and to feel those cars go around that track. You're not going to go to a NASCAR. You'd probably smell the tires on that electric car, whatever. But you're not going to get that rumble sound. You're not going to get that. You're just not going to get the feeling of electric car as you do to a high octane, over torqued, overdone V8 motor car.
No, you're not. It's
not going nowhere, and I think
even why they're talking about it. I really don't.
They just wanted to show that they did it and to see if they got to get any more interest from it, because NASCAR put probably hundreds of millions of dollars in that car, and it's going nowhere now. That's why they made this new car, because they're trying to get Honda and all these other manufacturers coming in, and guess what? No one's come in yet.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Like, this car's been out for 3 years. Why isn't the other manufacturers coming in? Because it's supposed to be cheaper. And Denny Hamlin's come out, and he's super transparent. He goes, it's $1 million per car. That's not cheap. That's not cheaper. $1 million per car?
It's heavier.
Yep.
What do they do? Allow them to charge batteries in the pit to... it's insane to even think about this crap. Let's see.
But that was weeks ago. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, there was some other NASCAR news that I see, but it just. Was that really confirmed? Troy LaJoy 20 minutes ago? Troy LaJoy will not return to Spire? Or is that just a rumor that you talked about?
No, I saw it on J-Ski, and they don't normally...
Yeah, I just learned NASCAR news that Corey LaJoy will not return to Spire. I thought you were talking about an actual rumor. Like, no, this is actually confirmed.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I made that...
No, I thought it was a rumor. Hell, he might go to front row, to be honest. They're gonna have 3, and only in Todd, and then Noah, and then Corey. I don't know what. It's just it's a chance. They haven't named the 3rd.
Isn't that where McDowell is front row?
Yeah, but he's going to Spire. He's going to Spire.
Yeah, they haven't named a replacement for him yet that I'm aware of.
Well, yeah, Noah Gragson. But Front Row is
Well,
getting a
who's the
third
third?
car.
They got the charter from Stuart
Yeah.
Haas, right?
Yeah, so they
Okay.
have 3 cars, but only 2 is confirmed as Todd and Noah. So they need a third driver. Who is it? No one knows.
Hmm.
So it could be Corey. Just like the rumor going around that Denny's getting a third ride and Riley Herbst is going in it instead of Zane Smith or whoever. I heard that rumor too. And he just won the Indy Xfinity race.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know how true it is, but that's what I heard.
Okay.
Also, Jimmy
Uh,
Johnson, stay out of a car. Just stay out of a car.
yeah, I agree. Quit. It just
Just you're
he
ruining your
says
legacy.
he says he's doing this so he has a better understanding of how this car works,
Then go help him
performs.
practice and run tracks. Go be that exhibition driver that Priest was for Stuart Haas before he got the ride. Go do all that stuff for him if you really want to do that. You don't have to go into a
Do
race
the testing and
and
do that.
crash out Joey Logano. Like, stop. Jimmy, just stop. I know you want it to stop. I know that was probably a deal with Toyota. Is we want Jimmy Johnson to drive one of our cars. Well, you're tainting you're like Darrell Waltrip. You're clinging on. Stop.
Huh? I can't argue there. He does need to stop.
I'm not putting anything you've done in the past. You're probably one of the greatest drivers in your time, and Canales probably was a part of that. Just been help manipulate that car to the rules and bending them and making him win. But
I'm glad you said that because some of those wins weren't. I'll never forget. I think it was Texas, and he won the race, and I believe that's the race where Jeff Gordon crashed out, and they took all of Jeff Gordon's crew to pit his car because his crew was screwing up all
yeah,
day long. And then when they got done with the race and Jimmy ended up winning it because Gordon's crew gave him the pit stops that he needed, Canals comes on the two-way and says, make sure in your burnout that you crack the rear end against the wall.
yeah.
It was like, are you effing kidding me? You did something, now you they could pass inspection and say, "Oh, well, that was just we hit the wall when we were doing burnouts."
Yeah, it's there's a story that reminded me of when Michigan Dale Earnhardt Jr. won Michigan years ago, and it was his first
Mm-hmm.
win back a long time, and he was just smoking everybody. It was 2012 or something like that when Brad Keselowski won the series. Well, Dale Earnhardt came out and says, "Yeah, we tweaked the car because before you couldn't torque the car sideways, crab walk, because that made the car faster because of the arrows in the turn and whatever." But I think it was Tony Erie Sr., whoever the crew chief was at the time, found a way as under downforce, it would crab walk the car, and when downforce was off, it would make it go straight again. So that's how, and they figured out how to do it, but NASCAR caught on and told them, don't do that, stop. Junior actually confirmed this. And Brad Keselowski's crew, found how to do it also, but a different way, and NASCAR didn't catch on, and that's why Brad won the championship, because after that, they saw what Junior did, and they mimicked it in a different way. It was a pretty cool story.
I was actually there that year.
Yeah.
Won that. Uh,
I want to say it was
but
2012, but I can't remember.
it was earlier than that.
It was the year Brad Keselowski won.
I want to say it was probably 09 or 10 when that happened.
Oh. Uh, Keselowski is a 2010 Xfinity champion. Yeah, 2012. Brad Keselowski won in 2012. Cup champion.
Well, what year was it that Junior won
2012.
Michigan?
He said it was that year.
Well, all right. Because I was camping on the infield at Michigan when that happened. He was in the Mountain Dew 88. And that's the year that myself and a couple of my friends camped on the infield.
Trying to find his Wikipedia with all his.
And it was late caution at the end of the race. Junior was in the lead. They were trying to get to the finish line. He was almost out of gas. And I remember that because one of my good friends was on the fence. Oh, please, please, please. And he made it.
Yeah, right there. That was his only win in that year. It was number 88 Michigan, 2012.
I didn't. Well, because that's the year you and I went to Bristol and Mom and I moved to North Carolina.
Yeah. It was after that. Yep.
So, wow. I was lucky. I got to go to 2 races that year. But that was the spring race when they had 2. Because Mom and I always camped outside in the grounds with our circle of friends at the time. And that year I went to the infield with just the guys. But anywho, as far as I'm concerned, there's no reason to talk about Richmond yet or anything like that. There's too much going to happen in the next 2 weeks. And I think we should come on before Richmond and talk about that and make our predictions. And
Oh, we didn't talk about Cole Custer's taking over the 41 car for the Cup ride.
yeah, Haas.
Which we knew, but I didn't know what car number. So it's they're keeping the 41 and Cole Custer, which his daddy's running the overlooking the Cup series, so of course he's gonna get it. Plus he won an Xfinity championship. He's proven it, but every time he's in that Cup car, he just can't do anything. So you think he's gonna do any better on a 1-car team?
They got support from Penske, I believe. Penske and RFK.
I think it's RFK they're going to be associated with.
Well,
And front row.
I remember before Tony joined, it was just Haas Corporation or whatever, and it turned into Stewart Haas. He made some pretty big noise as an independent 1 or 2 car team. And that's why Tony went over there and drug Harvick and Boyer and Danica along with himself.
She just brought money.
She brought money and sponsorship and a focus,
I saw a crazy rumor, and I don't know where it was, and I was going to bring it up. It had something to do with Haley Deegan joining a Cup team. And I was like, whoa. But I don't know how true it was. I forgot what it was, and I was just like, stop trying to push her into something she cannot. No. I forgot what it was. If I see it again, I'll screenshot it or something.
She was up at Lime Rock Park last weekend.
Or something like that.
No, it was not. It was AMS or the IROC cars. I don't remember. It's just like, lady, you're good looking. You're easy on the eyes. You don't have the talent. Go race go-karts. Just stop. She's like Danica. She got everywhere she's gotten because of her appearance. She's not got there because of talent. And
yeah.
I'm not being word escapes me. I'm just saying the truth. if you got there on talent, nobody would care about what you look like. All the things I see on social media about her is not talent related, it's other. And it's just, it's got to stop. But is Richmond that's the 11th? Hey, and it's is it a night race? 6 p.m. It is. Ha. And I don't care anymore because by then I don't have a get up time.
Yeah, it's Sunday, the 11th.
I
No.
don't care.
Yeah, Sunday the 11th.
I'll be able to stay up and watch it all live. But yeah, we've only got 4 races till the playoffs, and that's Richmond, Michigan, Daytona, and Darlington. Sunday, September 1st. I'm checking something out here because that's pretty darn close to me. They're not saying it's sold out. Have you already taken your vacation time for the year?
Yes and no.
Okay.
That's like I said, that's a yes and no. I don't. I'd have to look.
Because that's one of my bucket list tracks. But we'll talk about that later.
Oh, that's
They're
a
not
Labor
saying.
Day race.
Uh-huh. September 1st, 6 p.m. I might dive into that just a little bit more. I can do those things these days.
Yeah, I was
But
pretty.
anyway,
I was pretty embarrassed nobody was at the Indy track. We know it's hard to see, but man, there is no one at that track.
not like it was when I was going back in the late 90s, early 2000s when that place was packed. Oh, nothing comparable to the Indy 500. I'll give you that. But that place was still, you had to get in a lottery to get a ticket. And if you'll recall, we started out in the entry to turn 3, and each year progressively we moved closer and closer and finally ended up in the short chute between 3 and 4 before we quit going. Because that year that we ended up in the short chute, we were what, 40, 50 rows up. Do you remember Jerry Nadeau hitting the wall so hard it shook the stands? And we didn't know who it was until the wrecker took the car. And I think I looked at you or mom and I'm like, this is bull. I can see more sitting at home on the couch than putting up with all this traffic and
Yeah.
everything else. And I think that was the last year that we went, but we went for a good 8 or 9 years in a row. But I mean, I love Indy. It was cool. That anybody gets a chance, do it. Just don't expect to see everything because no matter where you sit in that place, unless you are somebody special and on top of the pagoda, you're not going to see that whole race. No matter where you sit. I remember that first year we sat in the entrance to turn 3. You couldn't see the front row. You couldn't see the exit to turn 4. You couldn't see any of turn 1. And you only could see the exit of turn 2 going into 3. And then because of the way the chain link was, you couldn't really see anything until they got right in front of you.
Yeah.
And you could watch them going off into 4, but we were low. We were, the first, and again, like I said, we were there from 94 for 8 or 9 years. But you had to get in a lottery to get a ticket. So you took whatever you could get and then went back in the lottery to try and upgrade for the next year. And we did that. And it kept getting better and better. We kept getting higher in the stands and closer towards at least an end where, like I said, that final year, you could see both straightaways, turns 3 and 4. You couldn't see the short chute between 1 and 2. But when Nadu crashed literally right underneath us, and we had no idea who it was, I was like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm done with this hassle." But hey, they wanted to give me pagoda, rooftop tickets. I'd take them.
Yeah.
I'd go back for that. So, with that, I think we're done. Like I said, we don't have anything for the next 2 weeks because of the Olympics. And I think we should, get back together a couple of days before Richmond and chew up what's happening and talk about Richmond.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan. All right, with that, everybody keep following us and hopefully we get more people to watch.
That it?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right.